What's good, y'all? Now, I normally don't do videos like this, but for some odd reason, I felt like I had to check it out because there's a reason why a lot of these teenagers nowadays are just running out of control because the lack of father figures in their lives, and I've said this all the time. Because there's gonna come a point in time where dads either step up or someone who is like a close father figure to them will raise them right. But it's unfortunate that you got these lack of discipline in these teenagers. It's way worse in DC because every teenager I see smoking weed, having sex, it's like parents are just losing control nowadays, and it's disgusting to see. But why do I have a bad feeling that going into this video is going to be worse, where these two kids are not remorseful, not being held accountable for their own actions, and they're just getting away with crimes because they're women and females as usual. So let's get to it.
She's still in their car. She's still in the car? Yeah, we called the cops. Call the cops. Call the cops.
Oh, Jesus.
This is a really sad case. In March 2021, the police were called to a gruesome scene. An Uber driver had been splattered all over the sidewalk under the weight of his own car, which was turned on its side. Was this an unfortunate accident? Sadly, no. It was the doing of two teenage girls whose identities remain hidden to this day. I know, not a lot of teenage girls murder grown men for no reason. So let's explore the shocking case of the teenage girls who hijacked an Uber and killed the driver. It was just another day for 66-year-old Muhammad Anwar in Washington, D.C. He'd moved to Springfield, Virginia in 2014 after living his whole life in...
If anybody's from D.C., I'm from D.C. too, so shout out to y'all. Love y'all.
Dad. He and his family decided it was time for a fresh start when they got a visa to work in the United States. The couple and their two adult kids came to Virginia, and for a few good years, they were happy. In March 2021, Mohammed was working as an Uber Eats driver in the Navy Yard area of Washington, D.C. He'd never really had any serious problems on the job, so he had no reason to be apprehensive. Much less so when two teenage girls got into his car in March 2021. One girl was 15, and the other was only 13. Mohammed simply got their destination up on his phone and started driving. But once they got to a narrow alley, the 15-year-old pulled out a stun gun. The two girls wrestled Mohammed out of the driver's seat and out the window. But poor Mohammed did not give up that fast. He wanted to get back at the wheel for his own and everyone's safety. As this was happening, two witnesses started filming and realized...
What I'm not understanding is that why didn't anybody stop them for it? Recording the incidents is not going to help anything. You stopping the action in person, it's going to make this a better place. But instead, everybody just choose to record situations instead of just stopping the situation. And that's how this man got killed. I'm sorry. I'm just calling it like I see it.
She's still in their car. He's still in the car? Yeah, we called the cops. Call the cops. Call the cops.
Ooh.
But the worst was just about to happen.
Good God.
The 15-year-old girl took over the driver's seat and pressed the pedal to the floor. Poor Muhammad was still clinging to his car, half of his body out the window. Within a few seconds, the girl managed to slam Muhammad against a street lamp and take a sharp right at full speed, making the car topple on its side and onto Muhammad's side.
Just an incredibly sad and emotional day.
Oh, God, bro.
Muhammad Anwar's family weeping as they described him as an angel, just a beautiful and humble man who went out of his way to help people who needed help. That's what he was doing the day that he died.
Imagine learning your partner or your dad was killed.
The worst thing that can ever happen is when you hear the phone ring and there's a police on the phone telling you about your own child, your parents' whereabouts. They found their bodies somewhere. I cannot remember a time when I've lost family members due to their bodies being found And last month, I just lost my cousin because someone accidentally killed her in a car accident. Now she was hit by a car, and that's when her body was found. In 2020, I lost my brother, and they found his body because of the drugs and all of that. But this is too relatable because I understand that family's pain. It's getting crazy, bro. These teenagers need to get life in jail.
What were they hoping to get out of carjacking an Uber driver's car? Did they really think they would get away with it? And how come they took off with Muhammad half out of the car? Honestly, it doesn't seem like these girls thought anything through. Few
Right.
teenagers are staples of wisdom and maturity, but these two top the list. The consequences of their recklessness and lack of empathy are huge. Muhammad's
yeah.
family was in shock, and so was everyone who read the news. Even more shocking was the footage from that day.
Shut it! Oh my God! She's stealing her car.
Ugh, God.
Yeah. Call the cops. Call the cops.
Every time
And
I
that's
hear
not
that
all.
crash sound,
After filming the moment of the carjacking,
Ugh.
the witness heard the crash and hurried to the scene. He filmed as the two girls casually exited the car, thinking they'd just fled the scene. So the witness made sure that the girls were apprehended fast. Luckily, 2 National Guardsmen were in the area.
good. I'm glad they were there.
These girls. That's it. That's it. That's it.
As the men held them up and called the police, guess what the girls complained about?
Stop the cap.
Excuse
You
me?
just killed a man and you're worried about your phone? Disgusting. Muhammad was rushed to
Wow.
the hospital, but it was too late to save him.
Wow.
He was pronounced dead on arrival. Needless to say, his family wanted the girls brought to justice.
Yeah, I hope
but
they were brought to
justice
justice,
is
but-
always murky.
You want to know what's even sad the most about this clip? The lack of accountability that these girls have, young 13 and 15 years old. Where were their parents at? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Did their parents knew what was going on? Did they knew about it when the news media came out? And what's even disgusting about this video the most is that they were worrying about their phone, their own belongings. You can forget about the phone. You took that man's life. Your phone is not important than that man's.
As the police took the girls into custody, they looked at their records. Lo and behold, the 15-year-old girl who was from Fort Washington, Maryland, had previous
Well, I'm not
charges.
surprised by it.
3 months before this carjack, she carjacked another car. The girls were defiant
Really?
and mostly concerned for their own welfare. They didn't seem to cry over what they'd done or express regret for killing poor Muhammad. Instead, they worried about going to jail. They were both charged with felony murder
It's
and
sick.
carjacking. Both of them pleaded
Like,
not
hey-
guilty. Honestly,
Wow.
how can you claim you're innocent when everybody saw you do it?
Exactly.
Hearing about the girls' lack of remorse and their outrageous plea, many people called for them to be tried as adults. But in the District of Columbia, 13-year-olds cannot be tried as adults. And for a 15-year-old to be tried as an adult, the court must prove they can't be rehabilitated. In the case of these teenage girls, the judge concluded she can be rehabilitated.
Exactly.
So, in April 2021, the girls were offered a plea bargain. Plead guilty to felony murder in exchange for dismissing the other charges. On May 11th, the 15-year-old accepted the deal. However, she pointed her finger at her younger friend, saying she was the one with
Try to
the
blame that
carjacking
person
idea.
when both
Still,
of y'all
the
were
15-year-old
in on it
was the
together.
one who brought a taser gun. She was
Stop
also
the
the
cap.
one who took the wheel and drove into a street post, killing Muhammad. It's really sickening when
It
someone
is.
takes an innocent life and then cannot accept responsibility for it.
A D.C.
It's
judge
sad.
handed down the,
The lack of
harshest sentence
accountability.
she could on the older girl in the attack.
I bet
The
their parents are
15-year-old girl
proud, huh?
would spend 6 years in a detention center. According to state law, she has to be released.
So, you wouldn't give her no years in jail, but you want to wait until she's 21 to get out. What if she does it again? I feel like judges nowadays, they just love to give sweet, innocent kids the bare minimum of giving them less years in jail because of how young they are. It doesn't matter if they're young or old. They need to be held accountable. They need to be brought to justice. They need to be in jail for the rest of their lives for taking a person's life because they felt the need to. I think what it is the system is broken. It's been broken since day one.
It's incomprehensible how a child could be so unfeeling. When it was time for Muhammad's family to make a victim impact statement, his daughter said, "You did not kill one person. You killed a whole family."
You do not just kill one person. You killed the whole family. I got chills just hearing that part. No lie. And the sad thing about this is they lost a grandfather, a father, a wife, a mother. No. They lost a grandfather, an uncle, a dad, a brother. All because of these two bastards dead to this man. They knew exactly what they were doing. I feel for this family, I really do.
Walk on N Street on March 23rd, where he lay, broken, while one of you
Jesus.
was only concerned about your phone. You broke most of the bones in his body. No amount of years you spend in any facility can ever make you go through even 1% of that pain. I can never and will never forgive you for the pain you caused him.
Exactly.
The girl just replied, "If I could take it back, I would."
If you could take it back, you could, but it's too late. You've already made amends with the devil. And you pretty much were doing his evil deeds by taking out an innocent life. If you could take it back, you could. Too late. Now, as a Christian myself, I don't think I can ever forgive someone who took away my loved one. Because it'll be a tough pill to swallow for me. Because I would have been enraged, losing self-control over my emotions. Because what that person did to my family member, I couldn't do it. So I'm not going to knock this family down for not forgiving these horrible people of what they did to this man. They have every right not to forgive those people. And I feel them all the way. It was no accident. It was murder. They murdered an innocent man. For what? Nothing.
Now turned 14, got the same sentence after she pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. The girl, now 14, needs very intensive services, Leibovitz said, agreeing with a prosecutor who argued that the girl, like her 15-year-old accomplice, should remain under DYRS supervision for the longest term allowed by the law. In a brief statement, the sobbing girl told the judge, "I never meant to do it."
Cap, I don't believe a word they say. They're going to get out and continue to do the exact same thing. Just like everybody else is doing. They get out and they do the exact same stuff like they did before of what got them in trouble in the first place. And the thing that bothers me about this is why did the judge give these girls 6 years of probation instead of behind bars? I wouldn't give them no 6 years. Give them life. They took an innocent life away. Come on now.
They were charged as juveniles. The girls' identities will remain hidden, unless one of the journalists who saw the hearings decides to leak their names. In a GoFundMe post, Muhammad's family described him as hardworking Pakistani immigrant who came to the United States to create a better life for him and his family. Anwar was a beloved husband, father, grandfather, uncle, and friend. who
That's what I said
always
before.
provided a smile when you needed one. All the Anwar family can do now is live with Mohammed's memory. But it is safe to say they're not exactly satisfied with the girl's sentencing. They're
I bet
off the
they
streets
weren't.
now,
I don't blame
but
them.
will they learn anything? If all you get for killing a person is a few years in a detention
It's
center.
stupid.
Following Mohammed's death, Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser tweeted a message with a video. Auto theft is a crime of opportunity. Following these steps to reduce the risk of your vehicle.
She's garbage, bro. I cannot stand this woman. She never did anything for the black community at all. I'm sorry, but I have to call her out on this one. Like, she's created so many damage in DC. So many black family owners are losing their homes, living in streets, being put out in apartments. Even though she's building new apartments and avenues and created new shelters, that's not enough. Like, we want something new for the black community. We're the ones that are suffering in death, being killed, being put out and all of that, being fired, losing multiple jobs, unemployed. She did so much for the other race, but she wouldn't even do anything for the black community. Like, call me crazy all you want. It's trash, bruh. But at least she did one thing right by tweeting something that a lot of us need to take consideration of: auto theft. It is a crime. And yet, the system gave these teenagers a slap in the wrist because they're teenagers? Are you kidding me?
#protect your auto. This sparked a big outrage. People called this tweet tone
Wait a second, I take that back. I still can't stand her.
had happened to Mohammed. It was almost as if she was blaming the victim for not taking better care of his car.
That's crazy.
Natalia Antonova tweeted, "Horrible timing on this clearly scheduled
It was.
tweet." And even if Mohammed Anwar wasn't dead,
It
carjackings are a plague in DC. There isn't a lot you can do with regard to risk reduction besides simply not driving a car. Sadly, she's right. There's a serious carjacking epidemic in the US.
Wow.
Carjackings are up 350%
Ooh,
in DC,
Jesus Christ.
126% in New Orleans,
Oh, wow.
537% in
Golly.
Minneapolis.
Shortly before Mohammed was killed, another dad in Chicago was shot when he tried to stop a carjacking.
Oh, God.
Through nothing short of a miracle, he survived the
Hearing her
attack.
say this
But this
name
is
was-
far from the only such incident.
At least
in
he made it,
Chicago.
though.
Tonight, our Charlie DeMar got an eye-opening look at just how much this crisis is terrorizing the
You
city.
could tell he was afraid. He was all teary-eyed and everything. Some guys just walked up, with guns and told him, to basically hand the truck over.
Hi, I'm witnessing a carjacking outside my apartment.
The shocking, and if you ask me,
Can we all agree on one thing, that the United States is a scary place to be in? Like, I'm just asking you a question. Can we agree that the United States is a terrible place to be in because of stuff like this? I'm dead serious when I say this, y'all.
lots of the attackers are super young.
Motives include joyriding.
These youngers like here be out
and
here going crazy, yo.
to facilitate anonymity while committing other crimes.
Joyriding. But at what cost? Is killing people or leaving them traumatized worth a night
Yeah,
of reckless
that-
fun? No, it's
No.
not. And while the attackers are at it, many times they also rob the car owners and their bystanders of their wallets and phones.
A 27-year-old just walking to work here on Wacker near Van Buren says he was robbed, forced to get on the ground and give up his belongings. He says the same people who carjacked that man near the Willis Tower also got him.
That was definitely the same guy wearing the same exact clothes, same hat. He had a black mask on.
But it's not just crazed teens who steal cars and terrorize their owners.
All right, so right now we're waiting for some dudes to come through with some cars. We're gonna find out where they got them from and what they got planned for them. They gotta be doing, I would say, about 90 to 100.
Oh, that's the actor. I forgot his name. Rest in peace, Sam.
Crazy. Oh, that's real right now. They just jumped the sidewalk, knocked down a stop sign. Yeah, they getting out of here.
There are carjacking crews who literally specialize in stealing cars and driving them at full speed. And some of these people, well, they start really young.
Hey man, I've been doing this since like the age of 10.
dropping elementary school, caravans, you know.
Where did the car come from? Like, where'd you get that
Bro,
car
this
from?
shit is
Well,
crazy.
this is what we do, like, every day, 24/7. It's not just for the bread, it's for also the money, man. It's cash out.
It's pretty disturbing that these people never really stop to think about the people they take the car from. Even if they don't get hurt, it's their car. They need it to go to work or take their kids to school. Maybe they can't even afford to buy another one. And the sad reality is, many people do get hurt in carjackings.
They do.
Debris remains where 20-year-old Isaiah Samanuk was killed overnight.
In April 2023, Chicago came under the spotlight again after Isaiah was shot and killed in Bronzeville. Isaiah was at the wheel with a female friend in the passenger seat. That's when two men approached them with handguns and tried to take their car. Isaiah's reflex was to drive off as fast as he could, but the men proceeded to shoot at the car. Both Isaiah and his friend were hit. Isaiah was rushed to the University of Chicago Medical Center where he was pronounced dead. His friend was shot in the foot and she will make a complete recovery, at least physically. One witness, Leandra Brown, commented, "What are you supposed to do? Just sit there and take that chance too? I would drive off too. I gotta try to save my family and everybody else, but it's dangerous. It's sad." Leandra said she was planning to move neighborhoods as she was now afraid to let her 12-year-old girl outside with her bike.
I don't blame her.
This is the sad reality of brutal carjacking. It causes a world of pain and suffering, and the negative consequences are always greater than the attacker imagines.
My family's really broke up over this. My sister called me about 4 or 5 this morning, and I couldn't even understand what she was saying.
It will be a better day when people realize their actions impact others. What the two teenage girls did to Muhammad is proof that some people just don't think in these terms.
They don't care.
Think the rules don't apply to them, or that others' feelings don't matter. It's worrying that so many young people can do this much harm to innocent people. If this is your start in life, how will you grow? Meanwhile, Muhammad's family and so many other grieving families are left in shambles, trying to make sense of a senseless act. Hey, thanks.
I think the judge messed up. They should have given these two girls life in prison because they took away the man's life. And what happened in Chicago is even worse. Carjacking and killing the man, but his girlfriend survived when she got shot in the foot. Giving the Megan Thee Stallion treatment. It really goes to show you that life is scary sometimes. Because if I had a child, 2 kids that did that, I would have lost it. I would have cussed them out. I would have just went off. Because number one, I didn't raise you. I didn't taught you to act like this. I taught you to be responsible as you grow up. And before I end this video off, the judge in DC messed up. You're giving these 2 girls a slap in the wrist. By the time they get older and they get out, they're going to do the exact same thing. Because most people that get out of jail, they go right back in it. And they don't learn from their mistakes. They're not being held accountable for their own actions. It's crazy. Don't ever take life for granted, y'all. I'm serious. Because you never know when it might be you or your loved ones. Please don't take life for granted. I'm being dead serious when I'm saying this, y'all. I'm not trying to be funny on camera. I'm serious. Because it can happen to you too. Just pray and just keep your family safe. Your friends and family safe from the nightmares. But as for the judge, I'm out.